What's up guys, it's the NJB here, and today I'm going to be doing a weekend review of the past week of football. So I'm going to be talking about some of the games. There are a lot of penalties this weekend, so we're going to kind of talk about that. So I'm going to be talking about the big games. So without any further ado, let's get started with some of the biggest Premier League matches. So our first game, we have Brighton versus United. Now this game has its fair share of controversy, and I might say that again throughout the video. Brighton gave United a lot of trouble. In fact, they had most of the game. They had 53% possession to United's 47, 85% pass accuracy to United's 47, double the amount of shots, and 6 more corners. I can't imagine they're happy with the loss. Brighton got their first goal off a penalty given away by Fernandes. United scored via an own goal by Dunk after a free kick. Rashford got an excellent solo counter-attack goal, and March scored after a free kick after poor defending from United. The last goal from United was a penalty given after the game was called, which angered Brighton players, but hey, handball is a handball. The next match was a match between West Brom and Chelsea. So this game was not an easy one for Chelsea. West Brom went up 3 goals in the first 28 minutes. The Chelsea defense was atrocious during the first half of the game. First goal from West Ham came when Chelsea gave the ball away in their own half via a header. Then the defense was unable to stop the low finish into the far corner. The second goal came from Thiago Silva's missed touch, or lack of a touch, which a West Brom player took advantage of and beat Caballero in a one-on-one. The last Brighton goal came from just another corner, one where the Chelsea defenders played the scorer onside. The first half of the game shows just how bad Chelsea can be at the back. In my top 4 predictions video, I said that Thiago Silva would cost him in some games because of his age, and he did. Now, Chelsea were able to come back and tie the game with Mount, Hudson-Odoi, and Abraham scoring. And Mount's goal was pretty incredible. It was outside the box, and he was able to change its direction like in the last second. It's kind of a weird goal to look at actually, but yeah. But honestly, with this defense, Chelsea need to focus on improving because they won't be as lucky. It's not all opponents are Brighton. Or West Brom, I mean. So, Manchester City versus Leicester. Well, this game was an interesting one. City were playing the way I predicted they would for the season. Leicester beat City 3-5 and was able to score 3 times from the spot. In my prediction video, I stated City's defense will continue to let them down throughout the season and that their tactics will be foiled by other teams relatively easily. That is exactly what happened here. City sloppily gave away penalties, gave away goals that should have been defended easily. Honestly, I don't know what City should do next, maybe hire Pochettino? Either way, I feel like this is still more of a tactical issue than City's actually poor defense. I think their fullbacks are pretty good. And the defenders can be good if they have the right tactics, but maybe they should have a lower line rather than having their players stay at the halfway line. So, Liverpool and Arsenal. This game was pretty straightforward because Liverpool were just a much better team than Arsenal were in every aspect of the game. The Merseyside team defeated the Gunners 3-1 at Anfield. I have to admit, I was expecting Liverpool to slow down this season and maybe struggle a little more, but they are just as sharp as ever. Arsenal on the other side, I think there are signs of an improvement, but they still have their issues, like trying to play out from the back. If they want this to work, they have to have their CBs go a little further up on top of the box and make sure the midfields actually come back to support them. Without that, they will continue to mess up and concede a few more goals by those mistakes, especially in Europe. So now let's move on to some games outside of England. So this time we'll talk about Germany and France. PSG were able to beat Reims a solid 2-0 with Icardi getting a brace, mainly from Mbappe doing most of the work, then laying it off to him, and he finished it off twice. Now in Germany, Bayern were destroyed by Hoffenheim 4-1. Seems like this was a high-scoring weekend for most teams out there. Bayern's defense was just as bad as City's or Chelsea's was this weekend, but the last goal via penalty takes the cake. And with Babu, I believe, taking on Kimmich and Alaba, both of whom seem to have forgotten how to defend. They threw themselves right into him, and then he taps the ball past Neuer to get the penalty. Overall, very disappointing performance from Bayern. Kimmich did score a pretty good goal, kind of similar to Mason Mount's, a little, But either way, fantastic performance from Hoffenheim. And just so you know, Bayern were using most of their full team. Just Lewandowski didn't start the game. So that's that for Bayern. Hopefully they can improve throughout the season. I'm pretty sure they will. So now let's briefly go over some of the Italian games. Inter Milan were able to get their first win in their first official match of the season against Fiorentina, with D'Ambrosio getting the final goal in the 89th minute. And they were able to beat Fiorentina, I believe, 4-3. Napoli beat Genoa a whopping 6-0. Milan beat Crotone 2-0. And Juventus was able to tie with Roma after being down 2-1 after a red card. Now to La Liga, Real Madrid was able to defeat Real Betis with a penalty in the 82nd minute. VAR was a pretty big controversy in this match, with the opposition saying they couldn't beat both Madrid and the ref. Madrid were still trying to find goals, but they only hit the back of the net once by open play, with the other goals coming from an own goal and a penalty. Atletico Madrid played Granada, and this is something we didn't see coming. Atletico was able to defeat Granada 6-0, with Luis Suarez getting a brace on his Atletico debut. Atletico usually does not score a lot of goals in their games, and despite the fact that this was only Granada, this may mean there will be a change in how they play. This Madrid side are ones to watch. And the last game we're going to talk about is Barcelona versus Villarreal. Barcelona beat the Yellow Submarines 4-0, with Ansu Fati scoring a brace in the first 20 minutes of the game. Messi then scored a penalty, and then Torres scored. So Barcelona were looking pretty good. I won't say it was anything too impressive, but they were looking like a pretty solid team, a little more energetic and better than they were under Valverde. Coutinho also played pretty well after coming back from his loan on Bayern Munich and his successful, I believe it was treble, or at least title and Champions League winning season with Bayern. And looks like he's back to help Barcelona accomplish the same feats, but we'll see how that goes. Either way, he had a great performance for Barcelona. So that's all I gotta say for the weekend. A lot of penalties. I saw in one of my notifications that the guys in charge of the Premier League, they're gonna be looking at some rules, and I don't think they're gonna change any rules, but I think they're gonna tell refs to kind of loosen up on the handballs, and I think that's well warranted. A lot of people are getting confused between the VAR and the handball rule. I don't think VAR has been a problem, but I think the new changes to the handballs is an issue. I think it was much better before. Even though it's kind of vague, sometimes you need to have rules that are kind of vague. I mean, intentional or unintentional touches and against the body in natural position, I think those are rules that are pretty fine, and in reality, you're only complaining about them if your team ends up losing because of that. But I think that's a much better system than what we had now. But either way, hopefully that's going to improve, and hopefully other leagues are going to look at it too. Because of VAR, it's easier for them to find these handballs, and I think some of them are just ridiculous. Like, they are. But either way, hopefully we're going to see a change. A lot of the big teams dealt some big blows for this weekend. Bayern City lost a pretty big amount. Chelsea wasn't able to win, so that's that. Either way, we'll see how it goes next weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and a sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers, mates.